It is 6:31 p.m., 6:32 p.m. I'm calling this meeting to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. We have a special guest here this evening. Will Leo McDonald please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
So please put your right hand over your heart. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ray, I'd like to adjourn tonight in memory of Kat Montoya.
Yes, we will. Thank you. Can we do roll call, please?
Director Avila?
Here.
Director Dennert?
Here.
Director O'Brien?
Here.
Vice Chair Freeman?
Here.
Chair Graham?
Here. Thank you. That will take us to item 3, agenda review.
Chair, staff has no recommended changes.
Sounds good. I apologize. Yes, we're good to continue. That will take us to item 4, public statements for items not on the agenda. Is there anyone in the audience this evening who would like to make a statement for an item that is not agendized at this time? I'm seeing none. On Zoom, I see David Brody, but I haven't seen him unmute himself.
Mr. Brody is here representing the Poe family on one of the items.
Great. Okay. Thank you. Unless you have unmuted, do you have a... Okay, no public statement. Thank you. That will take us to item 5, approval of minutes.
No public statement.
Thank you. That takes us to item 5, approval of minutes, subpoint A for the RSRPD Board of Directors meeting of August 16th, 2023.
I'd like to move for approval.
I'll second.
Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none. Can we do roll call vote, please?
Yes. Director Avila?
Aye.
Director Dennert?
Yes.
Director O'Brien?
Yes.
Vice Chair Freeman?
Yes.
Chair Graham?
Aye.
The motion carries with unanimous vote.
Thank you. That takes us to item 6, the consent agenda. Would anybody like to pull the item off for discussion? Any public comment on this item? Not seeing any. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Can we do a roll call vote, please?
Director Avila?
Aye.
Director Dennert?
Yes.
Director O'Brien?
Yes.
Vice Chair Freeman?
Yes.
Chair Graham?
Aye.
The motion carries with unanimous vote.
Thank you. That takes us to item 7, presentations, scheduled items, and public hearings. Subpoint A, presentation of certificate of commendation to Scout Leo McDonald for completion of his Eagle Scout project, rehabilitation of the archery range at the Oak Park Community Center.
Thank you, Chair. Richard Lemo, the district's community outreach officer, will provide staff's report.
Good evening, Chair Gray, Honorable Board. Thank you all. It's my great honor this evening to present Leo McDonald, Eagle Scout project that was just completed at Oak Park Community Center at the archery range. Leo, accompanied here with his father and Scoutmaster Greg Dotto, worked with Recreation Specialist Nikki Collier and Crew Chief Eugene Molnar to help successfully build and paint 2 picnic benches, repaint 2 existing benches, and construct 5 trestles for holding bow and arrows at the Oak Park Community Center archery range. They also helped organize a crew of 32 volunteers and helped raise funds to help cover the cost of the project. The area is now very lucky to have some welcome relief at an area that gets quite hot in the summer. I know our archers and our folks that like to walk in that area will be very pleased because of Leo's work. So please help me in congratulating Leo on a job very well done.
Did you want to express any words, or?
Would you like to say anything?
Yeah.
Not required.
I just wanted to say thank you so much to the beneficiary who helped me in this, was Miss Nikki Collier and Mr. Eugene Molnar. They helped me very much. I'd also like to thank my troop, including Mr. Otto and the other 30 volunteers who helped and donated $1,000 in funds for this project. So I'll just say this project would not be possible without those people. Thank you.
Can I ask you a question? What area do you live in?
I live in Oak Park.
You live in Oak Park?
Yes.
I don't know what your time schedule is or anything like that. I think it'd be kind of cool if we could recreate this for the Oak Park committee. Because I think they'd be really appreciative, and you certainly deserve the recognition. So if it works out with your schedule, or if it doesn't, maybe someone from, even if he can't be there, maybe someone from our staff could at least do some sort of a summary like you did.
Absolutely.
So I can just clarify, so folks know we have a planning committee that's elected in Oak Park, and they meet in Oak Park. Mr. Adel is asking if we can have you guys come there and acknowledge the project and him at their meeting, and we'll be in touch if it works with your schedules.
I think you deserve the recognition. I think they would really appreciate this. So I think it'd be a great thing.
1, 2, 3. Fantastic. Congratulations.
This is all you.
It might be a good problem to have with how many Eagle Scout projects the staff is supporting and completions. But I'd like to see maybe a roundup, like a social media post. If it's so many all at the same time, that's okay. We can put them together, possibly for the month of the year.
We've actually got a post prepared that's going to go out tomorrow with Leo's photo
I'm
attached.
gonna stop talking. But thank you to the staff that supported him in this project. Thank you, Leo, for finishing it.
Thank you, Leo, so much for your work, and thank your volunteers too, and all the adult leaders and all the fellow scouts and any friends who participated in the event. And congratulations. I have harassed every other person who's completed an Eagle Scout project if they've turned in their paperwork yet. And I neglected to ask when I had you right next to me in private, so now it's just a public open question instead. But congratulations on a job well done. Thank you for choosing Rancho Simi and your Oak Park community to do your project in. It's incredibly meaningful, and I can tell you I'm an Eagle Scout, and everywhere I've gone in my life, it's helped open doors, make new friendships. So congratulations, and wear it proudly.
Not trivial. I'm just saying it's not a trivial thing for any of us.
Any other board comments?
I just want to say thank you. We appreciate you. And it's dedication like yours that I look forward to our next generation taking over. Thank you.
Any last board comments? Okay. Well, Leo, congratulations again, and thank you. That will take us to item 7B, presentation of the full-time employee of the month for August 2023 to Santiago Jimenez.
Thank you, Chair. Teresa Pennington, the District's Director of Administration, will provide staff's report.
Chair Gray and members of the board, the full-time employee of the month for August 2023 is Santiago Jimenez. Santiago is a building maintenance worker 1 in the planning and maintenance department. Today happens to be his 8-year anniversary with Rancho Simi, and this is his first Employee of the Month award. The person who nominated Santi said, he's a great candidate for the Employee of the Month award. He has worked in many capacities within the planning and maintenance department, and he's well known and liked. Currently, he's in charge of most paint projects and graffiti removal all over Rancho Simi. He's professional, reliable, and a responsible employee. He works weekends and makes sure the facilities in the morning are ready to go for the afternoon shift, and everyone knows when Santi cleans because everything is well taken care of. He gets along with his coworkers, and they praise him for his hard work and dedication. Santiago is also humble and respectful to staff and residents alike. That's why he's deserving of the Employee of the Month award. He was unable to attend this evening, but asked me to pass on his thanks to the board and his coworkers. Thank you.
Thank you. Any board comments to start off? good.
I did say I'm sorry he's not here, and would you express our thanks to him for his dedication?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'll just speak briefly. Yeah, I think it's great, and I think the cool thing about what he does is, yes, it's a maintenance thing, but when it comes to graffiti removal, it also crosses over as being a safety issue, so it's really appreciated.
And I appreciate that you noticed that part about the safety issue. People feel safe in our parks and they're clean, and it's not because of coincidence. It's people like Santi doing his job and doing it so well, he's being recognized. So thank you.
I was also just going to say thank you to Santi, and you both already covered, I was going to mention the paint projects and graffiti removal, which helps keep our community beautiful. So thank you for the work that you and your team do.
What Josh said.
Okay. Thank you very much. Congratulations again. That will take us to item 8, continued business, which there is none, which takes us to item 9, new business, and A, approval of resolution accepting a 148-acre parcel of open space from Dale Poe Real Estate Group located along the southerly boundary of Simi Valley adjacent to the Arroyo Simi Equestrian Center, Simi Valley, California.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Wayne Nakaoka will present staff's report, and Mr. David Brody, representing the donator, is available via Zoom. The very meaningful contribution to the district, and I'll turn it over to Wayne, and David's available for any questions or comments you might have. Go ahead, Wayne.
Okay, Chair Gray, members of the board. Earlier this year, Mr. David Brody, who's on Zoom with us, president of the Dale Poe Real Estate Group, contacted the Park District in regards to a 148.83 acre parcel of open space that he would like to donate. The locality of the project, or the property itself, is highlighted on your attachment A. It's a very nice piece of property just north, or just south, I should say, of the Arroyo City Equestrian Center. Staff determined that the acquisition of this open space would be beneficial to the Park District for the preservation of open space, and since it contained the Rumpel Ridge Trail, which we call it, that follows Edison High Line Road south to the Albertson Motorway. The acquisition of this property will allow the Park District to complete a vital trail link between the Arroyo City Equestrian Center and outlying open space in conformance with the district's Trails Map Master Plan and General Plan. Since the preliminary title report did not contain any petroleum, natural gas, sewer, or uncertified, uncompacted fill easements, covenants, or restrictions, staff did not obtain a Phase 1 environmental assessment for the property. However, there are 2 major easements that are in the property. One goes to Southern California Edison for the High Line Edison Road, which is the high power lines that run between Simi Valley and Oak Park. And the other one's to Golden State Water for their water tank that supplies water to the community of Rumpel Canyon. Should the board desire, you can direct staff to obtain a Phase 1 environmental assessment for the property. I don't believe that there's a need to do so, but you may want to consider it. The resolution and grant deed for the acceptance of the 148-acre parcel has been reviewed by Park District staff and legal counsel, and there's 3 alternatives available to the board. One, that the board approve the resolution accepting the grant deed from Dale Poe Real Estate Group for the donation of a 148.83 acre parcel of open space located along the southerly boundary of Simi Valley adjacent to the Arroyo Simi Equestrian Center. Number 2 is that the board directs staff to obtain a Phase 1 environmental assessment for the 148.83 acre parcel of open space and report such findings to the board concurrent with the board's approval of the resolution accepting a grant deed from the Dale Poe Real Estate Group at a future board meeting. And 3, do not approve or accept the resolution accepting the grant deed at this time and provide further direction to staff. Staff recommends alternative 1, which is to accept the grant deed. Mr. David Brody, as Dan already said, is online tonight, and him and I are available to answer any questions that you might have.
And Chair, if I could just comment regarding the Phase 1 environmental, depending on the property and the situation, Wayne endorsement historically, and currently we will do that on occasion. It usually involves a review of title and an observation of the site itself. This particular case is one that we wouldn't really recommend it with the cost to it, but we think the risk is small on this particular piece, but there would be some risk without that. But on this piece, we're recommending that we don't need that in this particular instance, but it is an option for the board should you like to do that.
I have a couple of questions. First of all, you talk about the preliminary title report. Does that mean there's going to be a finalized one that's going to be much different? No. Okay. Okay. And the second thing is, you said there was some risk to not getting the environmental impact report. What are those risks?
Just if there's, it's a closer observation, I'll let Wayne answer it more.
Okay.
After a closer and more in-depth review of the property and kind of testing and observation, they could detect something on there. But there's no sign that
there's no reason why you'd expect that if they have no easements or.
And I'll let Wayne answer that a little deeper.
A lot of it goes to petroleum or chemicals that may have been dumped back in the 50s or 60s. There's no sign of that recorded on the site. This property has been looked through an initial phase 1 environmental assessment when the Rocal Canyon development went through, because there was a lot of concern with rocketite and the acid pits from rocketite. This property is way north of their development, or it's at the northerly end of it. They found nothing caustic up in their development, so we built all the houses.
Okay. I don't want the board 40 years from now cursing us.
There is not a landfill.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Any other board questions? Vice Chair Freeman?
Who owns the property adjacent to the east?
To the east, Brandeis Bardeen.
Oh, that is Brandeis?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other board questions?
Once it's complete, if we accept it, which I expect we would, the question I have is, are there any trail improvements that we would do?
Yes. There's one trail improvement that I'm recommending, and we'll probably just go ahead and do it. It's cutting a trail from the Arroyo City Equestrian Center to the High Line access road, or the Rocal Ridge Trail. That completely fulfills the obligation of, or the purpose of the Arroyo City Equestrian Center. It will be tied to the open space trail system.
And the other, we have a nice parking there, so we'll have a nice trailhead and parking at that location as well.
Just out of my own ignorance, is there potential for that trail to have equestrian
Yes.
use? Okay.
It just won't be a multi-purpose trail system.
Okay. Director Avila, did you have any questions?
Good.
Okay.
I have one more.
Yes, go ahead.
Do the Runkle still own the rest of the south of this?
I don't believe so. To the south of this, no, it would be Kaufman Road.
Okay, he owns it?
Yeah, they bought out the rest of the canyon area. And then we own the open space up there, 1,500 acres, which was given to us by Kaufman
Right,
Road.
then I'm thinking maybe we can acquire it. Okay,
I think there's one last piece that Kaufman and Road is going to give us after they finish out the development and cap the roadways. That will be the piece that ties this open space that we're going to acquire tonight, hopefully, and our existing open space that's south of the Runkle Canyon development, the 1,500 acres.
So Director Freeman, Kaufman and Broad, the piece they have now is scheduled to be dedicated to the Park District when the development's complete.
Any other board questions at this time? Okay, that will take us to public comment. Mr. Brody, if you'd like to make a comment, you're welcome to.
Sure. I would just like to thank the Park District, and I'd like to thank Dan and Wayne for their cooperation and, marshaling this through. It was a pleasure to work with them, so thank you.
Thank you. Any other public statements at this time? Okay, I'll go to board comments. I know I have some, but would anybody else like to lead off? Okay. Director Denner, you look like you.
I'm so excited. I drew hearts on my agenda. David, thank you for working with us on this, and if you could pass on that thanks to everyone else that's involved, we appreciate it. This is a dream for open space to be protected. That includes for equestrian, for hiking or biking, and just getting people outdoors, because it's not just hitting the same trail every day for exercise, but seeing something new and different. So I'm excited there's also going to be trail improvement to that. I'm going to suggest that we should thank the people that donated this to us and remember that they did that. There's a few ways we could do that if other board members want to weigh in. But Wayne, if tonight we approve this, when would it be official? Like ink is dry on everything?
As soon as I get Chair Gray to sign the notice of acceptance and the resolution.
You won't leave this room.
It probably has to be tomorrow or Monday, but yes. And then I will take it personally down to the county recorder's office.
So my suggestions is that we do a ribbon cutting and celebrate, right, the people that donated out to us if they're are up for that, or just some staff members. And then a press release so we can thank the family, but also let the community know that it's been protected, it's open. Because it's kind of tucked away there, where if you don't know where to start on it, you might not know how big it is or where it goes. So that might be fun. And then whether we put up a plaque that just says where the land came from, or my personal favorite is name one of the trails that goes through it. Working with staff, maybe the family can suggest something appropriate for that. But when people hike that and they ask, well, why is it named that? That's because the family donated it to us, and we're remembering their generous contribution.
I will quickly chime in with my own comments, which echo Director Dennert's enthusiasm. I did not draw hearts, and now I regret that. But I do want to say thank you to David, and please extend my thanks and our thanks to all of your partners on this. This really is an incredible donation. It is absolutely legacy building. It's appreciated by the community at large. This is something that will outlast everybody who watches this, who's here now in this room, and anybody who happens to come across our recordings or look at our minutes. It will outlive all of us, and that is an incredible legacy to be leaving for this community. So I'll say thank you so much. It's absolutely incredible, and I will echo Director Dennert's comments that we should absolutely bring anybody out who would like to celebrate this achievement and this legacy that you all are leaving. So I will say thank you again very much. Thank you.
I have one more question.
Sure, go ahead. Yeah.
There's a lot of adjacent property owners. There are a lot of adjacent property owners.
There's about 12 or 15 residential property owners that are adjacent to us.
I'm looking at all of these lots along here where we're going to have to do weed abatement.
No, the weed abatement has been assigned to the HOA. It is on the preliminary title report.
So we're not taking on additional responsibilities.
No, we're not.
Okay. How are all those people notified that all of a sudden it's public open space now? Any idea? Maybe we should notify the HOA.
If we go through with Director Dennert's opening, we might want to invite them.
I was just thinking about their HOA. Maybe their HOA should be notified that,
We can.
that it's now part of district property.
Yeah, it's the same HOA I deal with the Equestrian Center and Gateway Park, so.
Yeah. Thank you.
That being said, I will enthusiastically move for alternative 1.
I will second.
Could we do a roll call on that, please?
Director Avila?
Aye.
Director Denner?
Oh yeah.
Director O'Brien? Yes. Vice Chair Freeman?
Yes.
Chair Craig?
Aye.
That motion enthusiastically carries with unanimous vote.
Thank you, David. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, and I'll let the family know what happened and how appreciative you are. Thank you very much.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Okay, that will take us to Item 9B, authorization to solicit bids for the Rancho Simi Community Park Pool Complex Pool Deck Replacement Project.
Mr. Nakaoka will provide staff's report.
Guess I don't get to sit down today. Chair Gray, members of the board, as you may or may not already be aware of, in May of 2022, a portion of the concrete cantilever deck fell into the pool, which we had to close the pool temporarily until building maintenance did some repairs on it. We got the repairs done in time to open it up for the Sunwicks Aquatics program in 2022. During that same year, a notice of violation was given to us by our wonderful friends at the County Ventura Environmental Health Department. It had nothing to do with the cantilever deck, but it had to do with the deficiencies in the deck itself. It's slippery, some of the caulking is missing. We have a little bit of uplifted concrete in some areas, which was deemed unsafe. They asked us to have those items repaired. They gave us time to do this because we knew we had to replace a lot of things out there. So they said, you know, take a year, get your plans together and resubmit it when we are ready. As you know, the board did hire Jones and Madhaven earlier this year. They're a local architectural and engineering firm that specializes in pools and aquatic venues. Their plans have been completed. They have been submitted to Building and Safety and the County Department of Health. Their plans include 3 major items. One is the complete removal of the leading edge of the pool deck, the cantilever section, and 10 feet back to the slot drain. There's a little slot in there, and there's actually a drain underneath the ground that takes the pool water off the deck. Second thing is they want to put in a new slip-resistant simultaneous coating on the rest of the pool deck, where the county had a little issue with the slipperiness of it. I don't see how concrete can be slippery, but I guess it can be for pools. And the third item is to replace the diving boards and the diving board stanchions out there. They're 50 years old. I think it's about time we replace them. Since this pool is used almost 24/7, 365 days a year, we had to make special arrangements or break out some time to do this project. Currently, right now, we have an opening from December 4th for 60 calendar days, and that's what we wrote in the specifications. The contractor has to start that date and be done in 60 calendar days. Based upon the most recent estimates that we can gather here, the cost of this project is going to run between $834,000 and $1,043,000. Staff has notified the Simi Valley Unified School District about the pool closure and the local swim clubs that frequently use our pool. Funding for this project is included in this year's budget. We did approve it into an amount of $1,300,000, so we're within our estimate. And currently, staff is requesting the board authorize the solicitation of public bids for the Rancho Simi Community Park Pool Complex Pool Deck Replacement Project. And I'm here to answer any questions.
Chair, I just wanted to add on the funding source for this project is the money that the board worked with the city on. Several of you went down to the city and we explained the condition of the pool, and we were able to get that. And also there will be a phase 2 to this, although not happening extremely quickly, but we got the $2 million from Assemblymember Jackie Irwin. So between those 2 funding sources, we're going to make good improvements to the pool that will last for years to come.
Any board questions at this time? Okay, I'm not hearing any. Public comment. I do not believe there is a public at this point in time, so I will move to board comment. Any board comment?
Coordination going to be difficult with all the uses. I mean,
Coordinate the use. We closed the entire pool, so there's no using it. So I don't think there's any coordination. That's my
thinking
problem.
of the swim teams, and I mean, are we scheduling it so we have a minimum disruption?
Yes. We're kind of hoping to really fast track this thing to get the contractor on board next month, so he has at least a month or a month and a half lead time to prepare and to stage on site for December 4th. We only have a small opening because the what do you call it, water polo team needs to get back into the pool in February. So we're ready this time around. I know we've done it before, and it took a little time, but we're ready.
So Chair, I'll make a motion to authorize the solicitation of public bids for the Rancho Senior Community Park Pool Complex and pool deck replacement project.
There's a second. Could we do a vote, please?
Director Avila,
Aye.
Director Dennert,
Yes.
Director O'Brien,
Yes.
Vice Chair Freeman,
Yes.
Chair Gray.
Aye.
The motion carries with unanimous vote.
Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy your chair, sir. I know that I'm actually going to call a 5-minute recess right now, and we will return at 7:07. Thank you. We call this meeting back
Recording
into
in
order.
progress.
Perfect. Calling this meeting back into order at 7:06 p.m. That will take us to item 10, written communications of note.
Staff has none to report, Chair.
Any communications of note for any members of the board? Okay. That will take us to item 11, reports by board members. Director O'Brien, would you like to lead us off?
Yes, I will. Last meeting, Director Jenner came up with a really good idea about scholarships for high school kids to be docents, so I passed her idea on to Historical Society. I don't know if there's issues with them not being 18. That could be an issue with them.
They're not employees, they're just getting a scholarship.
Yeah.
Oh, you're saying because most of the docents are usually 18 or over.
Yeah, I don't know if the docents have to be 18. That's my issue. And if they do, I would kind of blow that out of the water. But if not, then we're in good shape. I was at CSDA in Monterey last week, which was great. I went to several functions and downloaded the hold downs for the sessions I went to and some that I didn't. So I'm going to get them all put together and send them out to everybody. And that's all I have. Very short.
Director Avila, would you like to go next?
Sure. All right, a number of things. So I attended Music in the Park in August, the Spasmatics. I've seen them a number of times before. It was a great concert. Really great. They really make it a really great family-oriented event. In addition to great music, really entertaining. Well attended. I think I didn't go to a couple of them, but I know in speaking with Richard and the two that I did attend, I think it was by far the best attended concert of the summer. And a shout out to Danielle and her staff for their work at the concert, at the Spasmatics concert and the entire summer concert series. Did a follow-up visit last week to Rancho Santa Susana Park. The day I went, I was hoping to chat with some of the staff members some more, but I didn't really get the opportunity. But it was well worth it. When I went there, I arrived, my timing couldn't have been, however you want to look at it, worse or better. I arrived like at the same time that members of the chamber arrived, and a group that wants to put on an event in about 6 months arrived. And I know, I guess the title of the event isn't sanctioned, so I won't say too much, but it's related to the 50th anniversary of Little House on the Prairie. And I just have to say, I marveled at the work of the staff there. They conducted themselves professionally, enthusiastically, and knowledgeably. The interaction between all the parties involved, and there were a lot of people there. It was just, it was just great to see, and it made me proud to be a member of our board and part of this district. So kudos go out to Laura, Greg, Matt, and the maintenance people there. It goes above and beyond what you would expect, and it was great to see that. So it was well worth the visit, even though I didn't know it was coming. So BMX, we're 37 days until Friday the 13th, so eager to find out what the city has in store for us.
But who's counting?
Yeah, exactly. Now, I think everyone knows I like to speak from my heart. I'm kind of more of an impromptu sort of guy. However, this is really serious, so I am going to read a brief statement that I prepared to conclude my remarks. As board members, we all represent our residents. Some of us approach our roles with a great deal of passion. We each bring a unique perspective to the board. We have different styles. Sometimes we disagree. This is all acceptable. However, there is no circumstance, none, where it is acceptable for a board member to approach another board member in an aggressive and harassing manner in the parking lot at 11:45 p.m. following a board meeting. Initiating, condoning, or ignoring this type of inappropriate behavior sends the wrong message to current and future board members, our staff, our employees, and most importantly, the public we serve.
Director Denner, would you like to go next?
Just give me a moment.
Sure. I can come back to you as well.
Yes, please.
Vice Chair Freeman, would you like to go next?
Yes. First, I went to the Celebration of Life for Bill Davis. And you think about the years of time that he put in to this community. And as planning commissioner, and city councilman, and mayor, and Metro Lake board. But what struck me was his probably greatest success were his 5 children, and the grandchildren, and the great-grandchildren. It was really just a wonderful family that were there together, and all very healthy, happy family. And Jenny is now 95. She was doing pretty good. Anyway, and then I was at CSDA, and there's some things I'm going to hand out. One of the flyers from one of the breakout sessions. I will say that if you have an opportunity to ever go, there's a lot for board members and staff, and this is just something that they handed out. Because it is a special district. Everybody gets one. Here you go, Richard. You get one too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Elaine Magner was elected for a second term from Camarillo, Pleasant Valley Recreational Park District. Some of the breakouts, including dealt with positive thinking, the Brown Act. One really interesting was ethical complaints against a board member. And we had that possible situation which we discussed. And then the 10 best practices that I passed out to you was another breakout session. And I also took the sexual harassment training because I won't be here during that when it's being offered here. Yes, we do all have different styles here. And what Director Avila is referring to is after the last board meeting, I wanted to chat with him about this comment. And I asked him if we could talk. If that is harassing, I'm sorry. All I wanted to do was talk, and I think Director Denner saw me go to the car and asked to chat. So just for clarity, that's what it was all about. Yes, we all have different styles. All I asked was just to chat, because I thought we should talk things over, but we didn't. You wouldn't talk, and so it's unfortunate that this has come to this position. My apologies if that was a wrong thing to do to try to have a conversation.
Chair,
Do you want to respond?
I do. I was going to keep it general, but since Vice Chair Freeman tries to minimize what happened. So I was walking out of the building with Director Dennert, and I was walking to my car. A vehicle parked in an area that was not a parking spot, directly blocking the path from where I was to my vehicle. I walked around the rear of the vehicle. I walked at an angle toward my car, at which time Vice Chair Freeman jumped out of the vehicle and started yelling that she wanted to talk to me. She repeated a comment to the effect of, "You're not going to talk to me." I told her that I wasn't going to talk to her. She then yelled out another comment, at which point I got in my car. She stood and stared at me for several seconds, then got in her vehicle and sat there for a period of time before she finally left, at which time I left. It was not just a question of someone approaching me and wanting to talk to me. And I will also point out that it was about 10 minutes after the meeting that Director Dennert and I walked out of the building. It was not immediately after the meeting.
Yes, Director Dennert was on his bike getting ready to leave.
Director Dennert, would you like to give your report now?
Sure. I attended the concerts in the park. I attended most of them this summer, and I appreciate that staff put them together. One of the questions I like to ask is who gets there earliest, and knowing how long it takes them to set up. It's not just the snowmobiles there an hour or two before, even 4 or 5, but some of them were early in the morning. I'm impressed. The Spasmatics were an awesome stage performance. They invited kids out to dance with them. They invited a random dog on there. Yeah, it was great. A few summers ago, I very much enjoyed the Yachtly Crew. I know they're in heavy demand, but if they make it into the schedule this summer, I'm sure many people will share my opinion of them. That'd be fun. I met with Bryce Seacrest, who finished an Eagle Scout project on Talbot Canyon Open Space, putting in some new benches there. Encourage you all to go hike and see them. Josh, am I reading correctly? Your shirt says it's okay to not be okay?
That it does.
The thing that made me think of is, I don't mean to be insensitive when people are struggling through things, but when you're on your feet, you got a fighting chance. And so when I say things like, get outdoors, it's good for you, I don't mean it's going to cure depression, but it gets you on your feet to give you a fighting chance. And sometimes that's as little as going for a walk for 20 minutes or just getting some fresh air. You might need other resources in addition to that, but it's a start. It gives you a fighting chance. So I appreciate you wearing that shirt tonight.
Yeah.
I've been riding my bike often, and I'm seeing more and more, they're just motorcycles. They're electric motorcycles, but they're motorcycles. And I'll give you an example. I was coming down to Erringer in my car, and a motorcycle went around me. It was an e-motorcycle, but it just went around me. It did not have license plates. It did not have mirrors on it. It's not street legal. And then it turned into the arroyo. And it was going fast enough to pass my car, and then it went into the arroyo. I was hiking at Tapa Open Space, and a young man, I'm going to guess he was 12 to 14, was just riding a motorcycle, not electric, just a gas-powered motorcycle, on Saturday morning when it's the most heavily used by bikers and people walking. And he's on a motorcycle going through people. And I was just surprised at the audacity of not finding a trail that nobody's on, but finding a popular trail at a very popular time. There was almost no parking on the street. There were so many hikers, and he's riding a motorcycle through there. So I know that it's difficult to find, but to catch them. But my suggestion is maybe part of the next budget process, we consider that our rangers who do a good job, we should give them the tools they need, including e-bikes, because you can't catch somebody on the arroyo with a car. It's you'd have to be driving it. When you're riding a bike, they stop right next to you, like as they wait for traffic. And if you're a ranger, you'd say, "Hey, what are you doing on a motorcycle right here?" So I'd like to see us. It might take a little bit of time to explore what that looks like, plus buying equipment. So I'll bring it as a part of not the budget we're working on, but the next one, unless any staff members working with their rangers say that's something they want to work on quicker. Otherwise, I'll wait for the next budget for that. I had a question for staff, specifically Zach. Zach, how are you doing at balancing pool use between all the different groups that use it? I like what Wayne said, it's being used all the time.
Yeah, as you know, it's a super popular amenity for the community here. We have school teams, we have open lap swimmers, we have lessons, all kinds of things happening through the summer. We are concluding a lot of that and pulling back a little bit more to just recreational swim and some school teams during the fall. That being said, that only means that it's very popular instead of extremely popular. So, so we continue to take requests. We continue to try to work with all the groups to accommodate their lane needs, rotate people, and all the different groups of people that are eager to have space in that pool. So it's always a work in progress, and we're always willing to hear people out and try to find the best solutions for that.
Do you feel the users are generally satisfied? Are they getting more frustrated or less frustrated with the whole process of trying to balance it out?
I think recently we've had a lot of interest in expanding programs at the pool, which has caused some issues. As you know, the Masters swim team was here a few months ago looking for more space. We had an in-house program that we wanted to launch. So we're continuing to work with that group. In fact, we have a meeting with, I think, Nancy in the next another week or so to reconsider some of her requests, to get back some of the space that we maybe needed for our initial program. High school teams are also the same thing, working with the high schools and the athletic directors to kind of give them the space they need. I know a couple of the schools have asked for more space in the pools, but they're asking for at times that we just can't give it away right now. So we continue to kind of work with all those groups, and I think Aaron and Danielle do a fantastic job of trying to hear people out and try to find the right solution for them.
Appreciate that. And then lastly, Kareem Jabron told me some good advice, things that about how to be an effective board member, and I really took it to heart. What Kareem said is we should be hard on the process, not on the people, but that doesn't mean that we give up on moving towards our goals and pressing each other to do that, but that we don't need to be hard on individuals, except the process to make sure we're sticking to our goals and working together. I did see the, I'll say, interaction a little bit. I was coming out and I wasn't thinking I need to remember everything I saw, but I saw a car stopped and I heard somebody speak. I think I heard something like, "You're not going to speak to me." And I went back to the building to see if there's anybody else around that would help to mediate, but not seeing anybody. Then I turned around and it was over. But the reason I bring that up is I want to be hopeful and to bring out the best in all, but I might need more help for that. So if there's an ongoing conflict that doesn't seem to be resolved yet, if any other board members have suggestions of trainings, retreats, those type of things that they think could help resolve that, I'd be appreciative of that, because we're at our best when we bring out the best in each other. So I do understand that there could be real reasons for conflict, but that doesn't mean we have to be hard on each other, but we have to sometimes not avoid it, but figure it out and find ways to move forward together. So I'm looking forward to us being able to do that.
Josh, I wanted to say one thing. I don't have the greatest vision, so I couldn't see what your shirt said. But I know we've recently chatted about a number of things, including things not having anything to do with the park board. And I just want to say, now that my eye's over here in the green shirt, let me know what your shirt says. I really do appreciate the shirt as well, and the reason for wearing it tonight. So
Yeah.
just wanted to let you know that.
Thank you.
I didn't see your shirt either. What's it say? What does it say?
It says it's okay to not be okay. And that will lead me into my my first comment, which is, we are all human, and September is Suicide Awareness and Prevention Month. There are plenty of resources. Please do look them up, know them yourself, and use them whenever possible. I know as the Recreation and Parks District, we hope to never run into an instance where we need those numbers for ourselves or anyone else, but it is always better to be prepared and ready to help ourselves or help others when we can.
Yes, can we put like those numbers on our website if they're not already? Is that doable? Okay.
Yes, we can do that.
Okay, great.
I was going to do something second, but I'm going to change topics real quick. I am still hoping, understanding this may be part of your report, once the after-school clubs are fully settled and it works out, to do a visit. I don't recall who, it may have been Director Denner or another board member who wished to do a few site visits when possible. I would be
interested.
Okay, yeah. It sounds like there might be more than 2 of us. I would love the opportunity to do a visit, see what we're doing, and if it's convenient, also hear from staff on what we might be able to do better from a board level to help the great work they're doing.
Great, we'll get that, reach out, get that coordinated.
Thank you.
A few years ago, I went on a tour of the after-school clubs, and it was impressive. So if they're improving, it's even better.
Yeah. And whenever feasible in the next month or 2, I would also love just a excuse me, I need to drink water. Specific update on metrics from After School Club and how we're doing now that we're a few weeks in, and where those numbers, perfect, reading my mind. I'm going to jump and quickly also say this is to nothing specific. I appreciate that. Ed had a specific reference for staff and how great staff has been lately. And I'll also say, not lately, you just had a specific instance to highlight. But I also want to say every interaction I've had with staff since joining the board, since long before it, has been fantastic. And it doesn't go unnoticed when I'm out and about in the community. And I've had conversations. 99.99% of every conversation is staff is fantastic. I love working with them. Excited to work with Rancho Simi again. So I just wanted to emphasize again, thank you to every staff member here, any who may be listening, and any who may not be tuning in this evening. Thank you for all your work. It doesn't go unnoticed, even if it is, as we said last meeting, unsung too often. Thank you for the work you're doing. Last week I had a meeting with the Park District Auditor. They have my notes. And then I'll also say I have a few notes. I'm excited for a meeting on Friday about the Children's Bill of Rights and any spitballing we can do. I don't know if there's a solution, but if anybody on staff has looked at any tree or heat maps for the Rancho Simi region and is familiar with them, I'd love a conversation to learn more. I've been studying, so any information about canopy coverage within our parks. I'd love just generic information about that. I think it's interesting, and I'd love to explore growing that more. Growing the tree map, shrinking the heat map for clarity. And then the last one, somebody told me that our general manager has been here 5 years, and I have a employee service award for him right here. Are we doing a photo?
5 years. It doesn't seem like that long, really. Seriously. A lot of stuff in 5 years.
Yeah, you want to, does the board want to join? That's yours. Absolutely. Sorry, this happened to be the night I'm not wearing a collar whatsoever. It was an applicable shirt, so.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. I really appreciate the board's support. It has been 5 years, and as we've mentioned, we've been through a lot together, a lot of change, a lot of challenge, but more positive things than I think negative. So I appreciate your guys' leadership in setting the tone and through COVID and fires and some of the financial discussions we've had. But thank you for the support, and continue to do a good job and meet the needs of the community. So thank you.
I will say brighter days ahead, hopefully. That will conclude my board report, which will take us to item 12, report by district manager.
Thank you, Chair. I did want to report on the after-school club numbers that school's been in session now for a few weeks. I'm just going to go with the macro numbers for now. just to give you a sense. I didn't want to note a couple of things. One thing in the variation of the numbers is you've got to look at school enrollment. Some of the elementary school enrollment goes down and up in the school, and then how many are registered in our after-school club program is sometimes a function of school enrollment as well. But the other thing I wanted to note was that during the period of COVID, as the board knows, all of you took direction to keep us open to provide childcare for first responders and folks that didn't have a choice to stay at home during the stay-at-home order. So the board allowed us the latitude and directed us to develop those programs during COVID, of which Mr. Miller, Mr. Limo at the time, and Danielle and all of their staffs did a good job making them available. But so in the immediate year preceding COVID, we had enrollees of 631. And again, this kind of tracks our recovery from COVID, even though it has seemed like it was over. For folks to respond and get back to normal has taken a little time, but I think this is one of the programs that's indicative of our recovery. We've had other programs that have fully recovered and others that haven't. But so in the immediate year preceding COVID, the enrollment was 631. That was in school year 18-19. In 1920, the enrollment was 570. In 2021, at the height of COVID, the enrollment was 101. And then we started to see the recovery in 21-22, where the enrollment went up to 409. In 22-23, that went up to 468. And I'm pleased to report that this school year, it is currently sits at 555. And usually we see a general increase as the school year goes on, so we expect the 555 to increase some. So again, there are variations in school enrollment, but we're pretty darn close to being back to where we were in terms of from an enrollment perspective. So
I apologize, and you may not have answers now, and that's totally fine. But I did want to follow up on that because we now have ELOP, which would. In the idea is it expands that pool. Do we imagine our recovery to continue beyond, or do we imagine we've plateaued? Understanding that you said this year may expand.
No, I think it's going to continue to grow. We have 173 in ELOP as of this morning.
Okay.
And also, as the ELOP program gets marketed more, as we get more space on campus, as we adjust our staffing levels upwards, we expect that number to increase.
Okay, so
we're not at, I think it's still going to go up because of ELOP, and probably still a little bit more people get comfortable with putting their kids in group settings.
Okay, so without ELOP, we probably would be at the 380 to 400
No,
number.
it would be higher because some of the ELOP kids were already in the program. They just qualified for the ELOP thing.
Okay.
So I don't have that variation there, but it would still be higher than last year because the kids that were there just qualified for ELOP. So.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
Wanted to note, I just wanted to, we're upon fire season, and I represent us at the MRCA, and they always give us a brief fire report. So I just wanted to provide some bullet points just for general knowledge and also for the staff. The weather folks are predicting below normal temperatures and above normal precipitation for the next 4 months, which is the fire season, September to December. They're predicting below normal fire activity for the 4 months. They're predicting below normal Santa Ana wind activity for the next 4 months. And but they say with the Santa Ana comes, the highest probability will be November. So again, this is weather predictions, and who knows, but usually for the last 5 years, this map is completely red. Green is good, red is bad. It's mostly green. So hopefully for both the community and our staff and everybody involved, that plays out. I've got a meeting coming up. There's a lot of confusion. We've got new members in Oak Park about weed abatement and vegetation removal and funding and all of that. So Zach and I and Wayne are going to meet with some of the new MAC members and a couple of folks on our committee, Dan Cooper and Brian Tuschinski, and also some of Gorell's staff, just to educate and bring them up to speed on how we handle weed abatement and vegetation removal. So we will be conducting that meeting, I think, in the next week or so. As it relates to that, we are pursuing, I'm hopeful, additional fire vegetation removal grant in Oak Park. We did not receive the Cal Fire grant, but there are some other opportunities that I'm pretty hopeful for. So hopefully we can deliver on that for the Oak Park community. Brian, the MRCA, we talked about the master bicycle plan or master trail plan. I did speak to them about that. They don't have a grant funding source identified for that for us yet. So they said they'd let me know when they do, but you and I will need to keep asking them about when they get a funding source for that. They're excited about the project, but they haven't identified any grant funding for that quite yet. I did want to note the Capri Board, which is our insurance identity, has a board of directors, and the board of directors consists mostly of general managers from around the state. They're going to be holding their meeting here at the beginning of November, and we're going to be, us and Conejo are hosting that meeting, one day here and one day at Conejo, and they want to do some tours and get to know our district a little bit more. So I might reach out to some of you if you'd like to go on. We're going to give them a tour of Oak Park and a tour of some of our parks in Senior and such. So that's, I think we have some time on that, but we will be hosting the Capri Board here at the district at the beginning of November. So I did an interview with Spectrum. I got a call from Spectrum. I think the Goose Brigade reached out to Spectrum and asked, they called and asked me for our perspective on the geese. It was a very short time frame. I did my best to try to explain the challenges with the geese, but I also expressed our willingness to work with the Goose Brigade, and they focused on cleanliness and safety in the parks, and that was really our goal, and we were hoping that we could achieve that with the geese and all of that. So anyhow, I did that interview. I do have a couple meetings coming up regarding the Rotary's got a couple of peace polls, the International Day of Peace. Technically, our policies don't allow for monuments and different things like that, so I'm hoping to meet with them to kind of see if we can do something that's within the spirit of the policy, but still accommodate maybe something temporary in nature or another location we may suggest to them. So,
Peace poll issue, did they have a place they wanted to?
I'm meeting with them next week, so I don't have all the
Monday morning.
Monday morning, so yeah. I'll know more after that.
My suggestion to them was to help us with our goals by building, not in each developed park, putting a peace pole in, but putting it at the top of some trailheads, because then you go for a hike, you take a picture of it, and then people say, where is that? And then they go for a hike. So if that's not within our policy, I'm willing to visit that park.
And I don't mean to be a naysayer, but in addition to our policies, there's some First Amendment rights. So if we say yes to one group, one interest group, or one particular interest, we have to say yes to others as well, potentially. So we just have to be careful. If we say yes, then any other interest would also have access to the park, and that we may not support. So, yeah, so we just have to be careful about how we go about accommodating those requests.
Personally, I think having it at the Veterans Plaza would be a great idea, and remind everybody that peace and freedom are not free. And you think about that a bit,
right?
How it all ties in.
All right. Director Gray, you had asked about emergency management and active shooter. I've got a whole bevy of material to go over with you one-on-one, and I can share it with the others as well. We had quite a bit extensive training and development in that area a few years ago, so I can walk you through what we have and what we did, and then also talk about what we may want to do to refresh on that. So, and then I just wanted to let the board know, I'll have Sandy send out some information, but the Samaritan Center, which is important to the district and important to the community to provide good services, they also provide services to us and the Rangers when we need assistance with folks that need a meal or need a shower. They're having a fundraiser next month that they reached out to me and asked you guys if you wanted to go, so I'll send that information out to you. I only mention it because they are, I view them as a, we're a direct link with them through our parks and the Rangers, so it's nice to support that community program. So,
do you know the date yet?
I believe it's October 2nd, but I'll have Sandy get out information to you tomorrow morning. It's a fundraiser dinner for the Samaritan Center. So, and the board has been supportive of the Samaritan in the past. We helped them during COVID with some janitorial. We've loaned some tools and equipment for weed abatement and things like that to help them keep that operation going. So, Upcoming board meetings is a little bit flexible. I'm dealing with a couple of items that we may have on the next agenda that it's still in development. So don't hold me to this, but just generally, we've got our final budget at the next meeting as an agenda item. We're going to go out to bid and award a contract for purchase of vehicles, which is good because we've been waiting a long time. We've got 10 vehicles that the board has provided for the staff and the community. And then we have a closed session, and then maybe a couple other items. We're targeting, or hopefully October 4th, we'll be doing pickleball. I'll get, as that date firms up, I'll get that to you guys, and we'll also be doing extensive community outreach. That's mostly in the Oak Park community pickleball issues, so we're hoping to do that on October 4th. And then on October 18th, we're looking at bringing back a discussion of golf and getting some deeper analysis in that area. The equestrian agreement, with the equestrian, the formal agreement, you guys approved kind of a conceptual, and we're going to bring that back, and then a policy change. So that's your upcoming board meetings, and I believe that is, we have no committee meetings other than the Historical Society. That concludes my report.
Did you have a question?
I just wanted to, I didn't want to step on the district manager's toes. I did want to mention an upcoming event. I was going to give Dan a chance to do it, but when I was at the Activity Center, meeting with several people, including Zach and Nikki Collier, Nikki brought to my attention that September 17th, I believe, is Wheels in Motion. It sounds like an exciting family, but I'm going to try to, it's between 9 o'clock and 2 o'clock that day. It's going to be tough, but I'm going to try to get by there. But apparently there's some youth power wheel races, a classic car show, and some other things. Zach, you may know more about it. But it's Sunday, September 17th at Rancho Santa Susana Community Park. If anybody from the public is listening, between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. I know Nikki's worked hard on it, and it sounds like it's a really fun event.
Nikki wants me to make sure that we make everybody aware that what was affectionately known as the Wienermobile, now called the Frankmobile, I think, will be in attendance as well. So the Oscar Mayer Frankmobile will be also Wheels in Motion.
Thank you. Any other last board comments before the next item?
I had earlier suggested different ways that you work on conflicts. You've worked with a variety of boards, city councils and such. Is there anything that you've seen that you thought might be effective?
Yeah, I know it's, I don't know what it is, but I've done several retreats. It's best with the whole board, and usually it's the executive team and maybe select staff. But you have those retreats, you hire a professional person that conducts those. They usually will meet with individuals before the retreat, and then they will conduct a workshop or an all-day thing. And surprisingly, those work. And I was hesitant of them when I first started participating in them, and probably somebody that probably didn't want to necessarily, was a non-believer, but I've been in ones. The key is that you have willing participants, and also that you pick the right facilitator that understands the subject matter and is knowledgeable and is good at what they do. So the whole key to it is picking the right person to do it. But it does work if you do it in the right way and you have the right person that's leading it.
With all due respect to Director Denner, I do want to say that again, I think everybody else understands, my goal here is to serve the people, and I'm not having a big conflict overall with my constituency, which is what I'm concerned about most. The other thing I'm concerned about most, I'm less concerned about what's happening here in the boardroom. We can all take care of ourselves here, but I just don't want unwanted things happening outside of the boardroom, and that's why I brought that issue up tonight. So I just thought that's clear.
I'm going to take us to item 13, closed session. Brian, would you mind
Not at all.
reading it?
Let's see, item 13A, closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.95. The claimant is Teresa Simpson, care of the Shermer firm. The agency claimed against is Rancho Senior Recreation Park District. Item 13B is a closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54957. This is a public employee performance evaluation of the district manager. Item 13C is a closed session pursuant to Government Code 54957.6. Conference with labor negotiators. The agency designated representative is the district council, and the unrepresented employee is the district manager.
Thank you.
If we can shut down the video appropriately and give it a couple minutes and then start the closed session.
We are back in closed session. Ryan Hamrick, do you mind reporting out the actions?
Yes, on item 13A, the board voted unanimously to send a notice of untimeliness and to reject the claim. There were no other reportable actions.
Thank you. That takes us to item 14, adjournment. This evening we are going to adjourn in honor of Pat Montoya, who was a local community member who recently passed. Good night, everyone.
Thank you.